Okay, so we add the tax to the supply curve. We shift it up by 1 unit. Okay, so here's our supply with the tax added to it. And we can see that the price, the quantity here, here's our market price, here's our market quantity. Now that our quantity is reduced, so this is going to be our quantity with the tax. And then we now have two prices. So this will be the price given to suppliers. This will be price given to miners. Okay, so 4.5 a little higher than 4, 3.5 a little lower than 4. We've got now this wedge that's so consumer surplus is going to be the area that is below the demand curve and above the price the demanders pay. The price the demanders pay now is up here, and producer surplus goes in here. This is the area above the supply curve and below the price that suppliers are receiving. Now there's this gap in here, and this rectangle is the tax revenue. So this is the amount of the tax. This is the quantity of the tax. So this rectangle here is the tax revenue. Okay. Let's just erase this. We're going to calculate our consumer surplus and our producer surplus and our total welfare.
What's the 35?
It's 3.5.
Oh, okay.
So that's the, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just saw 35. I'm like, what the heck is?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
The dot is kind of small. But yeah, it's our price and our new quantity. Okay, so I'm going to call this CS new just so that we don't get it confused with what we had before. And once again, it's the area of the triangle. Okay, so the base length of this triangle, now it's not quite as long as the old one was. It goes from 0 to the new quantity, which is 3.5. And then the height of the triangle, start at the top at 8, go down to 4.5. 8 minus 4.5. That's 1/2 times 3.5 times 3.5. And that is, if we multiply that on the calculator, 6.125. Similar thing for our producer surplus. We have the same base length, which is out to our new quantity that we have. This length right here. Height of the triangle goes from 3.5 down to 0. So our producer surplus is also 6.125. Okay, so what's our tax revenue? We set our tax to exactly our external damage, which is $1 per unit. So that's going to be total tax revenue is tax per unit of 1. We produced 3.5 units of the good, and that gives us 3.5. What's our external damage? So we're causing 1 unit of damage. So we're going to put the -1 to specify that this is bad. It's negative welfare. So we have the -1 as our cost. So it's 1 unit of damage times the 3.5 that we produce, and that gives us -3.5. So what's our total welfare? Consumer surplus plus producer surplus plus tax revenue plus, yeah, just turn out.
I thought it was minus.
Right, so we got a minus on it already.
Oh, okay.
So,
I was-
yeah, we want to make sure it's a negative number in this. We are going to subtract it, but yeah. 6.125 plus 6.125 plus 3.5 minus 3. Okay, this 3.5 and this negative 3.5 are the same, so they're going to cancel each other out. And we're going to be left with 6.125 plus 6.125, and that gives us 12.250. So, before, when we calculated this, we said our total welfare was 12. Now we've gone through adding this Pavilion tax, and we have 12.250. So we have increased our total welfare. So what does that mean? Well, society's better off with this tax in place. So with no externality, the best thing you can do is free market. If you have an externality, the best thing you can do is this Pavilion tax. Yeah.
So for the producer surplus with the tax, how come it goes all the way down to 0 with the original supply line, not at 1?
So this sort of extra cost, this $1,
Yeah.
that's damage to society, or it's the tax. So this is still sort of like the original supply is the cost to the firm, the marginal cost to the firm of producing the good. And so that's, when you calculate the producer surplus, it's kind of like the sum of the profits over all of the goods and all the costs that they're doing. And so if it still costs them this much to produce the good here, and they're getting this much for it, they're still getting this much profit. And you know that $1 tax is this. So like that goes out, they don't get it. There's this gap. But sort of in original terms, this is the fundamental, like what the firm is paying. Okay, so we've made total welfare go up by adding this Pavilion tax. And I guess maybe the next question you might have is, okay, we've made it go up, but is this really the maximum that we can achieve? If we're looking to find the most economically efficient as the one that has the highest total welfare, how do we know that this one that we've got here really is the maximum? You know, how we know that? So Pagoo proved this when he did this, that mathematically this making the tax revenue exactly counterbalance the externality damage is the maximum, but that mathematical proof is a little bit beyond sort of what we're going to do in this class, so we're just going to kind of believe it. But if you want just kind of to be convinced intuitively, what if we were to produce anywhere between, if producing 4 of the good gives us a total welfare of 12, if producing 3.5 gives us 12.250, you can kind of think of it as going in between there. If you were to produce 3.7 or 3.8 or something, you would get somewhere between 12 or 12.250. That will start to decrease as you produce more of the good.
But in the real world, you can't really do half or quarter units, don't you? You have to do whole units?
I guess it depends what the good is. So yeah, if you're thinking about producing whole cars, then yeah, you can't really produce half a car or something like that. But most things in the real world, you might be working in units of millions or billions.
Oh.
So you know, if you say we're producing 4 million tons of steel,
Got
we
it.
can also produce 3.5 million tons of steel. So yeah, for now, I'm kind of assuming that we can divide it, that we're not in a world where the total world market is only 4 units of something. So yeah, we're